Alright, miserable today after our sub-freezing temperatures for a month and a half. I'm just reading the temperature here in my van. It is 34 degrees and it's raining. What plagued me from the start of trapping season. This is going to melt a lot of the snow. It won't melt the hard packed snow, but it will cause a lot of snow melt. They want it mild for a couple of days. I think it's Thursday now, so they want it mild to Friday, and then Saturday they want to go back below zero again. It'll be like 25 degrees for a high. This morning I just checked my sets. I haven't seen any canine activity for a few days. Actually, since I caught that fox. I did see grinner footprints out today. Go figure. I seen 3 different sets of big possum tracks in the snow. I haven't not seen any coon tracks in the snow, none. And lots of deer tracks everywhere. But we're still checking and seeing what's going on. But yeah, you can definitely tell the weather's got a little milder. It's gonna turn. I hope it doesn't turn everything to mud, but we'll keep at it. Hopefully we'll avoid the grinners. This is gonna be quick. Checking traps this morning, and the weather has taken a turn for the worse. It's pouring rain. Everything is flooding. There's 6 inches of water on the tractor path back there. It's just, we had a deluge of freaking rain yesterday. It pretty much rained all day yesterday and last night, and the temperature came up just enough above freezing to start melting the snow. And now you get snow melt and heavy rain at the same time, and everything is just flooded. It's miserable. This whole place is just a mud pit now. But no catches. I haven't seen any canine sign at all. My dirt hole down here, the trap bed is actually still working, but the dirt hole has water in it where the bait is. But I didn't see any canine tracks around it. Lots of deer tracks, no canine tracks. All right, let's get in and out of the rain. Well, I'm actually surprised by this. We had a lot of rain for 2 days, and then snow melt, of course, as you can see. You see where I have this dirt hole on the edge of this crop change here. That's what I was trying to explain the other day, but it was harder to see with the snow. But actually it doesn't look too bad. When I checked it yesterday, man, it was full of water. Dirt hole was full of water, but it's drained out a little bit. I had peat moss on there, seems to be doing the job. Looks like it'll still work, I think. You can see the deer tracks in the snow behind it here. But no canine tracks. I didn't see any. Spoke too soon. I checked the peat moss around the trap. It's frozen. As it was absolutely full of water. You'll see it's all the ice and stuff lying up here. And what happened was it went up to 35, 36, 37 degrees. We had rain, then it turned to freezing rain, then it turned to sleet, and then the temperature, like today, is inside the cabin. I just checked the temperature, it was 5 degrees. So with the wind chill, it's lower than that, 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So now everything is frozen like a rock again, including my set. It might thaw out with the sun, it might thaw it out. The calcium might help it, but I'm going to check my cables now and see if I had anything moving last night. Pretty cold though. Okay, you can see what I'm dealing with here. I gotta just creep along. Yesterday when I was here, this was actually flowing water. Of course now, overnight, you can see my footsteps in it from yesterday. It is just solid ice. Solid ice. I'm not even sinking in it. My boots are actually sticking to it. So everything is like frozen solid. Oh yeah. Now I gotta change my cables again because the snow has melted down. So I gotta adjust the height. Oh, this is sketchy. This is a slab of ice. Okay, well, it's February 5th today, and I see a nice red fox in a cable I have over here. Ah, dandy. If I can get over here with the ice. I won't look at the water. Oh, look at it. Look at this. Water under ice. This is just terrible. I gotta work around this way. Oh yeah, this is a good neck hatch I got on him. I can see it from here. He's after putting a whooping on my trail, but I might be done. He is a beautiful fox. Beautiful fox. I'm stressing out, but there he is. Got him nice in that cable. Wow, he is a beautiful fox. An absolute beauty. You can see his breath. It's so cold. Alright, let's take care of him. Yeah, he is beautiful. That's nice. Okay, here's our fox. Here's absolutely beautiful. Look at the coat on him. You see here where the cable had him around the base of the neck there, just perfect. Held him nice. Didn't do much fur damage. A little bit of cable or a little bit of fur in the lock, but not much. But you can see here, here's our of course you can see where it was kinked, where it was locked, but there's not one chew mark on it. Not one mark of a chew. And this is a 1x19 cable. Now obviously this cable is not good anymore because it's kinked where he was pulling on it, but I want to show you something later what you can do with the cables instead of just tossing them out. Of course you can keep the hardware off of them and reuse the hardware and make your own cables, but there's my support, my wire support. That's still good, so I can take that up out of the ground and take it with me and reuse it. But yeah, here he is. Beautiful. What a beautiful animal. Beautiful animal. Very pleased with that. Okay, last of the trapping season. I want to thank everybody for watching the trapping videos. And I hope you all had a good season. And I'm already getting ready for next season. What are you doing? Sniffing the red dog? Huh? Isn't he pretty? All right. See you guys on the next one. What are you doing? Don't get caught in that snare now. Okay. Live more outdoors. I commented on one of my videos. A very important point. The height of your cable off the ground. Now in some of the videos it's hard to see. You know, you've got duff, there's snow. But you want your cable, you know, minimum heights off the ground for your intended target. Now this is one of the cables here. I'm taking all my cables down today. I caught that really nice fox, and that is going to be the last of my trapping season. I've taken 2 fox out of here now, and I don't want to take any more. So I'm going to take my cables down and take my 1 foothold that's frozen into the ground now. So that will officially be the end of my late trapping season, and I'm going to end it on a high. I had hard problems all year long with trying to trap canines, and I had some you know, misfortune with my cables earlier on, which I believe was a coyote cable, because if you look at the cables that now I caught both of those foxes in, there's not one chew mark on either one of those cables. But yeah, back to my point about the height of the cable. This will give you a little better demonstration. So you can see there's my hand width. So that will be 2 hand widths off the ground. Of course, you don't want them close to the ground. You're going to get incidental catches. You're going to get rabbits. You're going to get coons. You're going to get possums, which you don't want. We're targeting canines. That's what the cables were set up for. So the 2 most important things, and he has an excellent video showing you how to set a cable for a fox, and then another video, the same video showing you on how to set up a cable for a coyote. So you want them on different heights. Of course, a coyote is a larger canine than a fox, so he's a little taller. His head is a little bigger, so you want a little bigger hoop for him, a little smaller hoop for the fox, a little higher off the ground for the coyote, a little lower to the ground for the fox. So it makes sense depending on what you're targeting. Now, you will catch fox incidentally in coyote cables. There's no avoiding it, because sometimes they just hit the bottom of the chin off of the cable and it closes down on them. Sometimes the wider cable, what they'll do is try and jump through it, and then you'll get them in the hip, your hip catch them and stuff. But yeah, so that's a very pertinent point. I'm gonna leave a link for his channel in the description below. So go and check out his videos. Really good. He's puts out excellent information on trapping. Because I have a chart at home. I might look at it later on in the video. I got it from the snare shop, and it gives you a whole chart on, you know, your cable, your hoop sizes, and your height off the ground for which animals you're trying to target. So maybe I'll put that in on the video too. Okay, just gonna skin our fox from this morning. Here he is. Beauty. Nice thick winter coat on him there. But I found that information that I was talking about earlier when I was referencing the height for your cables or your snares or whatever you're doing. I am no expert on cabling or snaring. I go by the information that I've gathered from other people, and, you know, information I've read and information from reliable sources. So try and get good information. Now they have this is a leaflet I got from the Snare Shop, which is a company that I order stuff from every now and again. You see their logo there and their number. Good company to deal with. I've bought lots of stuff from them. I like to get their copper tags, the printed copper trap tags from them. They do them really nice. But I got a series of trapping DVDs that were on clearance that I got, and that's where I got this leaflet from. And what it is a snare setting guide. Now, in Pennsylvania, it's not legal. Sometimes you'll hear me calling these cable snares. They're not snares, they're cable restraints. It's not legal for me to use a snare. They're commonly known as snares, although here only a cable restraint is legal. Some states it's cable restraint only. Some states you can use a cable restraint, you can use a snare. Some states you can't use a snare, you can't use a cable restraint, you can only use a snare. I know in Canada you can use a powered snare, but those are not legal in a lot of the southern states, especially in the US. Those are more for wilderness type areas where you get less incidental, you know, you're not going to get incidental catches, we'll say. But you have to check your rules and regulations. It differs from state to state. Now, Live More Outdoors had made a good point. There's minimum requirements for some states, including our state. You can't have a cable any lower than 6 inches. Now, of course, that's going to change with snow. Like we had conditions here where we were using the cables where we get snow and then we get snow melt. So the height of your cable will change, and you have to go and every day you have to go and adjust them so that it's at the proper height. So I do have a table here, and I'll read off a few of the animals they have here. I know some of my friends in Ireland, they'll use snares for mink. Now, we can use snares here in the water. I think for otter and beaver, I believe, but the snare has to be underwater. It can't be on dry land. Same type of rules we have for 330 conibears. 330 conibear can only be set in the water, and it pretty much has to be 3/4 submerged in the water or underwater completely. And then even at that, we're only allowed to have so many of them out per county. Our beaver trapping is regulated by number, so we can't just put unlimited traps out. You can have so many of traps in each county, in each management unit, I guess. But the cable restraints that we use here in Pennsylvania are primarily to target fox and coyote when your foothold traps won't, you know, ordinarily work in crummy conditions like what I showed you today on the video, where everything gets frozen or they get snowed in. And last year we had heavy snow, and I hit a lot of traps where I had to go. If you look at my older videos, you see where I had to go and dig traps out of 2 feet of snow. Sometimes we get that type of weather. Today it was different. It was freezing and everything was, you know, had rained. We had got like a 1 and maybe a 2 day mild spell where it was above freezing. We got heavy rain, then it turned to freezing rain, and then the ground was just saturated with snow melt, and everything froze solid the day after. It's like it's a chunk of ice, like a giant iceberg. But the cables will work in bad weather conditions like that. So they have a bunch of animals listed. For a squirrel, 3-inch diameter loop, 2 to 3 inches off the ground. For a rabbit, a 4-inch diameter loop, 2 inches off the ground. For a groundhog or a possum, you want a 5 to 6 inch loop, 2 inches off the ground. That's what I was saying to you. It's almost on the ground. So you don't want to have your cables low, because you're going to get incidental catches, as well as not being legal for the state. You're going to get incidental catches. For a fox, which is what we were targeting, it's an 8-inch diameter loop, 8 inches off the ground. So remember, 8 by 8. Raccoon, 6 to 8 inch diameter loop, 3 to 5 inches off the ground. So the coon is a little flatter. He's got shorter front legs. So if the cable is a little low, he's going to snag it. For a bobcat, 8-inch diameter loop, 8 inches off the ground. So that's the same size as for a fox. Now, I think that might vary from state to state. If you're in the south and the bobcat's a little smaller, I think the further north you move, like animals like fox, coyote, and bobcat get larger. Same as the deer, white-tailed deer. If you get a white-tailed deer that's in South Texas, it's not going to be the same size as the deer you get in Minnesota or Manitoba. They're much bigger. So the colder the weather, the animal gets a little bit bigger. But these are just a generalization. The coyote here, you want a 10 to 12 inch diameter loop, 10 to 12 inches off the ground. So whatever your loop size is, you want it that far off the ground. Now if you look at this little square here, that'll show you. This is 5.5 inches, so that's a ½ inch below what the minimum legal would be here. So you want it a little bit higher than that for the fox. The cable I showed you earlier on, I had 2 hand widths on it. So 2 of my hand widths is 7.5 inches, which is almost 8 inches. So that's what I use to check the height. Beaver, they have here a 10-inch loop, 2 to 3 inches off the ground. So you want it low if you're going to snare beaver in a trail or something like that. Wolverine, 8-inch diameter loop, 8 inches off the ground. I only wish we had wolverine here to trap. You got to go way further north than me to get wolverine. Wolves and wild hogs. You got an 18-inch diameter loop, 10 to 12 inches off the ground. You're gonna have to go see the Montana wolf trapper for that one. But yeah, there's a little general guide. Pretty good, pretty handy. I got another guide at the sport show. It shows a whole bunch. I think it was from the Maine Fish and Game. It's really nice. It showed all different tracks, so you could identify the tracks of the different animals. It shows you here the makeup of the cable or the snare. So there's your support, your lock, and your cable itself, and then the anchor here, and your attachment device, and then your anchor. Some pretty good information. Gives you the different cable sizes for the animals, the type of cable. Now I had issue. It says here the first one was 7x7. I had issues with the 7x7 cable. I believe the animal that chewed out of that cable, that first catch I got, was a coyote, because that cable was destroyed. That would have been my first coyote catch too. That makes it even that much more bitter. But I switched to a 1x19 cable, and they're real slick and they're real quick to close. You've seen in the videos when you just barely touch it, and that cable is so stiff and so slick, it closes immediately. It also holds a really nice loop, and it's very strong. It is very strong. But I see some guys, they use baking soda to boil the cables. I didn't do that. I boiled the cable just in trap dye, regular trap dye, and I didn't boil it for 2 hours. It was only in there for 20 minutes, just enough to take a little bit of the shine off the cable. They were still shiny, believe it or not. But I did notice, I've been checking my cables early in the morning. I switched when I had that loss. I switched from checking them in the evening after work to switch them in the morning before work. And the cables overnight, they would frost just like the grass. They would frost over, and they were virtually indistinguishable between a piece of grass and the cable. You wouldn't have seen it. Where I had them in the grass, there's no real shine from them. If you held them up in the sun and glinted it, they shine. You might see the color of the cable, but I didn't really shine. The steel in the lock, the steel in the cable, it stayed really slick. it did take some darkness from the dye, but I mean, I could still see where they were, but it didn't seem to bother the fox. He walked straight into that cable. Same with the other one, he walked straight into it, and it seemed to do okay. Would a coyote veer off from that? That's possible. If they see the cable, maybe. I don't know. That's hard to say. I haven't really done enough of it to see if I had refusals or not. I could pretty much see what was walking through my trails because I had snow. So, yeah, those are a basic, guide for different heights for different animals. But like I said, go check Live More Outdoors video on setting up the cable for the snare, and setting up the cable for the fox, and setting up the cable for the coyote. It gives really good information on that, and I'm not going to do a better job than he did, so just go and look at his video. All right, let's get to taking care of our fox here. All right. Well, a sad day today. It's a couple of days after the end of the trapping season. It ended Sunday. So all I had left in the ground were my anchors, you can see here. And today I had 2 or 3 days of 50-degree weather, so it's time to pull them up. I waited till the ground, defrosted a little bit. It's much easier to pull them out when the ground is frozen. It's like damn near impossible. Once you get to the area where it's frosted in, and you just can't get them out. I had to pull my trap out of the ground too. I had it set off, it wasn't set, but I had to pull my trap out that I had down in this third hole too. But yeah, trapping season ends for another season, but we'll be here before you know it again. We'll be back trapping again. I just wanted to thank everybody for following along on the trapping videos and the hunting videos that I put out this year. I had a really good year this year. Got some nice deer with my crossbow. Caught my first cable restraint foxes. I know I lost the coyote for sure, but next year maybe we will snag them. They didn't come back into this area too much after I caught it and he got away. They were pretty suspicious after that, and I could see their footprints. They pretty much stayed to the open. They were avoiding the closed cover. They stayed to the open fields, but no coyotes. But next season is coming, and I'll work on them again. We'll work on them again. I didn't see any deer tonight, but I did find a lucky horseshoe. There it is. Probably from when they were farming this 60 years ago or more. But yeah, I wanted to thank everybody for following along with the videos, and we'll be putting up more. Hopefully I'll have more videos. I'm already making some trapping equipment for next season, some body grip stands and some drowning rigs and stuff like that, so I'll be putting up some videos on that, and we'll be doing some prep work for hunting, putting up some videos on that, and then fishing hopefully too. We'll get out and do some fishing, and then hunting season will be back and trapping season will be back. All right, see you guys on the next one.